we really don't have time enough time to go through the resume. Yeah, but do you even need to? It's Deuce McAllister. He's the color analyst on the Saints, color analyst with the SEC Network. I think he used to play football as well, and he joins us right now. Also, one of my favorite people. Deuce, what's up, my man?
Nothing much. How you doing, buddy?
Really good. It's good to talk to you, and, man, good to be so close to the start of football. Obviously, a couple of preseason games in the rearview mirror for the NFL teams, but it's about to get real with some high school football tonight in Mississippi.
Hey, people can knock us all they want, but if you come and just check it out, a Thursday night, high school and junior college, you see some of the best ball that could be played in the state of Mississippi. They can knock us for a lot of different things, but our sports, particularly football, I like where we stand in those situations.
All right, give me the high school football memory that stands out for you the most. Like when you think back to your high school days, what's the first thought that comes to mind?
I should have played in the Jackson Stadium. I should have played in the Coliseum and Bassfield. They did me wrong. I'm not gonna. I hate to be that guy that fusses at the ref, but our refs
be that guy, Deuce. Be that guy.
Yeah. Our refs were not fair that night at Bassfield, and then Michael Golar, I love you like a brother, played at Mississippi State. Man, your Prentice football team and your Prentice basketball team knocked me out of South State, both sports. So my senior year for basketball, I would have went to the Coliseum 4 times in a row. And football, it was I think that was my junior year. They knocked us out, and so I remember it quite well. Now, a good memory for me is beating our rival Fars, Mississippi, for the Golden Chicken my senior year. Now that's a good memory, but when you talk about it, it's the 2 worst things that could happen, or 3. I was not a Dandy Dozen player. Not 1 year was not named to the Dandy Dozen as far as one of the top 12 players in the in Mississippi my senior year. But those other 2 at least are playing the games. And Todd Kelly, yes, I'm looking at and talking to you. And Rod Walker, I'm talking exactly to you. And God rest his soul, Sekou Smith, who he was covering sports at that time, and he went on to do it for the NBA as well. Whenever I saw those 3 guys, I let them know.
I think that was a swing and a miss by those 3 guys, if we're being honest. Deuce, maybe we just found one of the differences between a professional athlete, or somebody who has the ability to be a professional athlete, and me, which I don't. Like when I think back to high school football, I think of good memories. I just ask you, and you're like, well, we got beat this time, and we got beat this time. We got screwed by the refs that night. We need the good stuff, though.
Well, the good stuff came after the bad stuff, where it felt like that I never got a chance to wear a ring, or never got a chance to play, over in Jackson, and that was the ultimate. I mean, now I know that the games are they're rotated amongst the big 3 in the state. But at the time, it was going and playing in Jackson, and regardless of how cold it was, that's what you look forward to. And so, not to have that opportunity, you always think back and what if this had happened, or what if that had happened, and I just never had those opportunities.
This is the problem with us having a clock and hard time breaks. Like, there's a reason I asked you to come on to talk. I wanted to get some Saints training camp stuff and maybe get to some SEC stuff. But this is so much more fun just to go down memory lane, certainly as we begin the high school football season. Deuce McAllister with us on the Farm Bureau guest line. Let's do that other stuff at least for a minute or two. 1 preseason game left. What do the Saints need to accomplish in their final preseason game? Defenses look good. Are we going to see Jameis? How much of Jameis are we going to see? What do you think they need to do in their last preseason game tomorrow night?
If you do see Jameis, it will be for a drive or 2, probably max. Okay. And I think, I know a lot of times you want to win the games, but for the Saints, it's a peer evaluation period for them. And what I mean by that is, yes, you would love to win the game, but there are probably 5 to 6 available spots, truly available for guys to be able to complete the 53-man roster. And there are probably about 7 or 8 spots available for practice squad players that are on that team. So you look at it, of the let's just say that you're going to have 70 players that will play. There are about 15 jobs that are up, and I think that's where the true interest comes in for a lot of people. Particularly if you're watching it. I mean, because in all honesty, I don't know, and because of injury, I don't know if the Saints have settled on a linebacker opposite of Demario Davis. They would love for it to be Pete Warner, but he's been hurt. Yeah. He's been hurt, and so you have to make sure that you have that position, not necessarily solidified, but at least a plan B in case Pete Warner hasn't, if he's not 100% healthy once the season starts, and you feel good about the depth at that position. So that's one area of concern. The other area of concern, I don't want to say it's concern, but you're intrigued by it. Will they develop that third back? Will they develop that third running back? As far as there are 3 guys that will make the squad as far as a running back, and that's going to be Dwayne Washington, Mark Ingram, and Alvin Kamara. But Dwayne Washington hasn't been a true third down back for you. And that's where Tony Jones was able to make the team last year. But you also have Abram Smith, and then you have a young man that they moved back there, Kurt Merritt, this last week, and he has a tremendous amount of speed. And so the Saints are still looking, to answer some of those positions. But here's the hardest part. The hardest part, when you go into the building, you think that you're competing against the guys in your room, and you're really not. You're competing against the other 31 teams as well at that position, and that's what makes it so hard, because it's easy for me to see how many reps I'm getting week in and week out, but it's hard for me to see that, hey, look, they have interest in the left tackle over in Arizona, and then they're monitoring the situation down in Miami with a disgruntled player. All of that you don't necessarily follow, and so that's just what makes it so much more harder in the pro game.
I say Michael Thomas. You say what?
Will be available and performing against Atlanta in about 12 days or 14 days or, roughly whatever that time frame is.
Has he made your eyes pop in camp this year? I mean, we got some of the early reports that just unbelievable, as good as he has looked. Is that what you saw as well?
You see how much you've missed in the last 2 years. I mean, because a lot of the times he is not open, but he is catching the football. So, and that's what he's always done, the contested throws, the tough catches, just to be able to move the chains. And then you throw in a Chris Olave, and then you throw in, some of the guys that you had last year who are now probably your third, fourth, and fifth options. That whole room has been remade totally. And, it starts with Michael Thomas and Chris Olave. I'll mess that up 100 times, so please forgive me. Olave. I mean, but at the same time, his ability to go deep and just make tough catches is what makes Michael so special. And I say with deep, he's an intermediate runner, and so you're talking about 15 yards and under is where he's going to specialize.
You hear Deuce on Sundays on the Saints Radio Network. You'll see him on television on Saturdays with the SEC Network starting year number 2 alongside Dave Neal. I've only got a minute left, Deuce. What are you most looking forward to this season in the SEC?
The competition. Will somebody be able to attack Alabama? Does Georgia continue to hold up? What does Billy Napier? Is he able to really bring Florida back? And, my first game that I have is I'm down at College Station. And I'm intrigued to see if Jimbo can really get that thing rolling. I mean, because I don't know how much patience those fans are going to have if he turns in another 8-4 or 9-3 type record. I mean, you've got a whole bunch of talent down there, and a lot better to be 8-4 than 9-3.
That's kind of what they do at Texas A&M. In fact, Michael Borky built a graphic where the A&M were on either side of the Big T. It just said Texas 8-4. So it had the Big T in the middle with an 8 on one side and a 4 on the other side. I don't know that we should get that made on a hat for you to wear to go see Jimbo, but it's kind of what they've been. We'll see if they rise up.
The
Deuce,
fans are
thanks.
not going to be happy if that's the case. The fans will not be happy whatsoever if that's the case.
Always